This show right here is the embodiment of what you would call a work-life balance. Watch. What you watching? Hey guys, so I just seen the show Severance. Try saying that 5 times fast. But I just seen the show Severance, and it was... So Severance is a show about this group of coworkers working at this company in which they have to undergo the procedure to have their work memories surgically separated from their personal lives. And one day when a former coworker shows up outside of work, they work together to try to uncover the truth about what they actually do for work. That's basically all I'm gonna say right now without giving into too many spoilers, because I really want people to watch this show, and this right here is gonna be me basically going over the things I liked about the show, my overall thoughts, and more so a reaction, and I guess kind of like a mini review about the show, really. So let me just say this right off the bat. Adam Scott is great in this show, and he's awesome. And honestly, it took me about 2 episodes to really realize that this Adam Scott, I'm like, I know this guy. I know this man from somewhere. Where do I know this guy from? And I'm like, oh, this is the same man from Step Brothers.
Oh, I'm Derek, and I can sing high like that.
Like, Step Brothers is one of my favorite movies, you know, when I grew up and stuff. So I'm just like, I see what you did there. But the whole cast just works off each other because everybody has a different role they play. Like, without giving into too many spoilers, you know, you have like the new guy, you know, you have the team lead, you have the person who's been there too long. And of course, my personal favorite, you have the confident asshole that gets shit done. And, you know, everyone just works off each other. They really sell this premise of having like this dichotomy between a work life and a personal life. And when I first watched the show, like the first few episodes, I was like, maybe like the first 3 episodes really, I was like, yo, this will be cool. You know, like the transition from your work you to your personal you is it's seamless. And for you, like when you go into work, all you know when you go into work is like, okay, you go to your locker, you clock in and you get you ready, you go down this elevator, and then next thing you know, you're coming back up the elevator and you're done with work. Like it's like no time has passed at all. Like it's like instantaneous. So for, you know, when you think about it, you're like, this is pretty sweet, because it's like you're working without working. Like you have no memory of work, you have no recollection of work, you don't know what you do. But then on the other side of that coin, the work you, that is a little bit terrifying, really, when you think about it, because it's like this version of you that was basically born at work. Like you have all your wits about you, like your sarcasm, your personality, but as far as like who you are, you don't know who you are. You don't know your name, you don't know your parents, you don't know where you're from, but you have like your same personality, you know, like if you're a dickhead, you're gonna be a dickhead there, but you're just gonna be like, what am I doing here? And mind you now, this procedure is irreversible. So you're working at this job until you die or you quit. And when those 2 things may be a little more linked than you may think. After episode 4, I think I was like, yeah, no, I don't think I'd like to be in that place. But when this former coworker tries to communicate with one of the individuals outside of work, that's when it becomes tricky, because again, you're forming these relationships at work that you don't know about. So you can be best friends with people at work, but while you're in your personal life, you're just going about your day. You don't know these people at all. And that right there lies in the mystery, because there are certain characters that are closer, you know, that are close in their personal lives, and then in the work lives, they're, you know, the dynamic is very different. That's about all I can say about that without getting into too many spoilers, because again, I want people to watch this show. The only thing I didn't really like about this show is how it leaves off on a cliffhanger, because this show it's only 9 episodes long, and it could have easily been 10. But what I will say about this show is you think about certain questions that, you know, this concept invokes. Me, I was thinking about things like, so what if you have an emergency? You know, like what if there's a pregnant woman, you know, like, and what if you need to go home early? You know, like what if, you know, you get hurt at work? You know, how are these things explained? You know, like what if, you know, like what if you try to communicate with yourself? How can you quit? Or what if your work self wants to quit? You know, who's really in charge here? Who calls the shots? And those questions are kind of explained, but kind of not. If you wanted to get an idea of what this show is like, The best thing you can compare it to would be that episode of Black Mirror. I think it's the Christmas episode special, where you have this downloadable consciousness that's, for all intents and purposes, it's a sentient being, but they're not exactly a real person, but they experience life like a real person would, but you're a thought. Like that's the kind of concept, like if you were to compare it to anything, you would compare it to that. But instead of being like a secretary or an assistant for yourself that has to like choose how dark you want toast or what you want the temperature to be on, you're working a 9 to 5 without actually working a 9 to 5. And the more I think about it now, and as I'm explaining it, yes, it's very scary, like almost torture when you really think. It's kind of like a purgatory state when you really think about it. And speaking of torture, I will say this about the show. Like every job, you have rules, and if you break these rules, you get punished. What are these rules exactly? I could not tell you. How many rules are there? Again, I could not tell you. But one of the rules are destruction of property and smuggling, trying to communicate with your work self, I guess. I don't know. If you break any rule in this show, or what they would consider a rule, you get sent to what they call the break room. And in the break room is what you would call a hellish psychological torture unlike any other. So what you are doing is you're putting your hands on the table, in which I guess you're hooked up to some lie detector kind of machine, right? And then in front of you is this glass mirror with words written on it, somewhat like a mantra or a prayer. But it's like the most soul-crushing, demeaning, psychological, torturous, Guantanamo Bay type shit I've ever seen. Like, and you have to say this mantra, this prayer, basically, this company prayer, basically. You have to say it until you mean it.
I'm afraid you still don't mean it.
Kind of like the equivalent of like a Bart Simpson, writing your name a million times, like writing sorry a million times on a chalkboard or something like that. But you have to do this until you mean it. And it could be 1,000 times, it could be 100 times, it could be 1 time, but that's what you have to do, so you're in there for a while, and your day, and you can do that the whole 8 hours of your day. You can clock in and then go up that elevator, start the new day doing the exact same thing. And that will break you. Like, I think that will break anybody, because if you're kind of just saying, I'm the scum of society, I'll never amount to anything, I'm sorry for the pain that caused the world, and something along those lines, but it's pretty depressing. And when you're saying it over and over and over, you can't paraphrase, you can't do anything, you have to read it word for word, and they have to decide on whether or not they believe you. And that shit is crazy. But overall, this show is good. It left me with a lot of questions. It left me on the edge of my seat. I definitely want to give it another watch. I did enjoy this show tremendously. I highly recommend anybody to watch this show. If you have watched this show, please watch it again. You may have missed something. If you didn't watch this show, get Apple TV Plus. If you don't have Apple TV Plus, I believe it's like it's $4 a month or something like that, and I think it's a 7-day trial. You can watch the show in a day. It's perfectly fine. But this is not a sponsorship on it. I'm just saying I want to get the word out on this show because I want people to talk about it. And I do not think enough people are talking about this show. And honestly, it deserves the praise that it gets. When it comes to the show Severance, I highly recommend it. If you've seen it, tell me what you think. What do you think? What do you think was going to happen in season 2? What do you think? Give me some theories here. What do you think about this real weird world? What is the weirdest question that you had revolving about it? Is it about how they eat? Can you bring lunch in? How do you detect? What's the technology like? Like if you get hit in the head hard enough, will the chip stop working? Like I need answers, and I'm pretty sure I have a lot. I'm pretty sure people have questions as well. So, hey, help me out, I'll help you out. Yeah, so that's been my thoughts about the show Severance. It's really good. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. If you have seen it, watch it again. Let me know your thoughts. Give me some theories. Give me some questions about season 2. Maybe if you have some, I maybe can answer some questions. Who knows? But so that's been Severance. The next video may be Breaking Bad or a movie. I don't know. I'm still getting the hang of this, so I want my journey to kind of like reflect, growth. Yeah. Bye. Watch Severance though, for real.